so happy, and I just love being with her. I love being in her company. She has just transformed my life, and I'm just so happy and proud that she has consented to become my wife today, and I just love you with all my heart.
Well, thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. I feel a little bit as if I'm about to sing, but I don't intend to. First of all, I would like to most sincerely thank Andrew, first of all, for the honour of asking me to be his best man. He's stolen some of my lines there in his own speech, as I was going to describe him indeed as my best friend, and somebody obviously who I've been very close to for the last, well, 40 years. Who would guess it? Yes, for the last 40 years. So it's certainly a very great honour, and not only an honour, but a very great pleasure indeed for me to be here today on this really very happiest of days. Not only is it an honour, but perhaps it's also really, I suppose, symbolic of Andrew's courage that he would ask somebody who indeed has known him for the last 40 years and indeed has very carefully catalogued grievances, physical and indeed mental scars. Anyway, we'll come back to those in a moment. But it's my very great pleasure, before moving on to some of that, to deal with the formal thanks that I'm required, but also it's a very great pleasure for me to issue. And Jenny and Mary have both asked me to thank Andrew most sincerely for recognising them so warmly in his toast. And of course I will wholeheartedly agree. They're both looking absolutely tremendous today. They look absolutely fantastic. Second only, of course, to my absolutely stunning and beautiful new sister-in-law, Ingrid, who I think we can all agree stole the show today. I'm particularly grateful, of course, that Ingrid has such good taste, such an exquisite taste, as I really don't have the legs for a kilt anymore. My skirt days are over, and certainly knickerbockers, you know, well, I don't know, once a week's enough, I think. Anyway, I would have to say it's been really a very great pleasure for me to get to know Ingrid over the last year or so. And Ingrid, I think, was really a very great object of fascination amongst my circle of friends, and indeed amongst Andrew and our mutual circle of friends. And initially I thought that fascination was simply because everybody wondered, well, who was this girl who was willing to take Andrew on? And of course, I still haven't entirely dismissed that from my mind. But I think maybe initially, certainly, the fascination was because of the mystery and intrigue and indeed allure that surrounded Ingrid's introduction into our circle, which some of you may not be familiar with. Now, as Andrew has said, and of course it's entirely clear, Andrew and I are very close. We're very close friends, and indeed we're very close in age. Andrew is just 16 months, or the 16 months between us, and yes, Andrew is older than me by those 16 months. I just want everybody to register that. Yes, every day is important. And generally, of course, Andrew is a very forthcoming person. Indeed, I can be sitting at work just before going into court and get a very important text message to tell me what Andrew is having for breakfast. Or I can be about to have a meeting, maybe with senior police officers, and get an email with Andrew telling me what he has been watching on television. There is generally not a morning or an afternoon that goes past without an important phone call of one type or another. And indeed, Andrew is a regular visitor to my house, not only whenever I'm there, but frequently, ever since he managed to secrete keys somewhere. Quite often, whenever I'm not there, Andrew will call in, evidenced whenever I arrive home by teacups all over the place, and an overexcited terrier crossbreed who he has fed various different Scooby snacks to throughout the afternoon. So, given that level of closeness, it came really as, well, I think it's fair to say, a very great surprise to me, given that Andrew really has no unspoken thoughts whatsoever. It came as a very great surprise to me whenever I was lying on the sofa at home one Saturday afternoon in, I think, July 2007, with a cup of tea in one hand and probably maybe a bag of cola bottles or something in the other. Just a typical Saturday afternoon watching a DVD, when I got a rather breathless text from a very good mutual friend of Andrew and myself, Jennifer, who's sitting at table number 6 there, very demurely in the purple. I don't see why the focus should all be on me. So, I got a very breathless text from my very close friend, Jennifer, and obviously whenever I saw it was Jennifer who texted me, I knew it must be serious, because Jennifer only gets 5 free